When the traders had been in the country for a few years, their government arrived and began to impose its rule on us. Forts were set up around the countryside, at Dagoretti, Kiambu, Nyeri, and so on. Soldiers were stationed in these forts and were used to control the people. From the private correspondence of Sir Charles Elliot, Commissioner of British East Africa. No doubt on platforms and in reports, we declare we have no intention of depriving natives of their lands. But your lordship has opened this protectorate to white immigration and colonization. And I think it is well that, in confidential correspondence at least, we should face the undoubted issue. That is, that white mates black in a very few moves. There can be no doubt that the Maasai and many other tribes must go under. From the Diaries of Francis Hall, February 1899. We proceeded to march quietly through the country, sending columns out to burn the villages and collect goats. We destroyed a tremendous number of villages, and after 14 days, we emerged on the plains to the eastward, having gone straight from one end to the other of the disaffected districts. We captured some 10,000 goats and a few cattle. And this on top of the previous expedition must have been a pretty severe blow to them. From the Diaries of Colonel Richard Meinertzhagen, King's African Rifles. 8th September 1902. I have performed a most unpleasant duty today. I made a night march to the village where the white settler had been so brutally murdered the day before yesterday. I gave orders that every living thing, except children, should be killed without mercy. Every soul was either shot or bayoneted. We burned all the huts and razed the banana plantations to the ground. May 1905, Sotik. 92 killed, 2,000 cattle, 3,000 sheep and goats captured, 14,000 rounds rifle ammunition used, and 2 Maxim guns. September 1905, Kisi. 100 killed, 3,000 cattle captured. January 1906, Nandi. 1,100 killed, 16,000 cattle, 36,000 sheep and goats captured. January 1908, Kisi again. 200 killed, 7,000 sheep, 5,000 goats. It looks like a butchery, Winston Churchill said when he heard of the Kisi massacre. And if the House of Commons gets hold of it, all our plans in the East Africa Protectorate will be under a cloud. Surely it cannot be necessary to go on killing these defenseless people on such an enormous scale. For the people of Kenya, the price of the Pax Britannica was high. The slaughter of thousands, the forced resettlement of whole tribes outside their traditional areas, the destruction of tens of thousands of homesteads and villages, and the confiscation of hundreds of thousands of cattle, sheep, and goats.
Otiokirwo na wega tubatiri riu mbara muchinga na itimoi na ngoi ni atia.
The government did not come peacefully, but what was a spear to a gun? There was fighting, and people were killed. But Europeans won because they had guns. Had it been a matter of spears and swords, things would have been different. In the first 10 years of British involvement in Kenya, more than a third of the colony's budget went into military operations. By 1915, every major tribe had faced at least one so-called punitive expedition. This was the foundation on which 70 years of colonial rule were based. The land of the Kamba and the Boran, of the Luo, the Digo, the Luya, and the Taita. The land of the Maasai, the Meru, the Kikuyu, and the Tugen. Of the Kisii, the Somali, the Turkana, and the Teso. The land of the Embu and the Samburu. Of the Nandi and the Kipsigis. Of the Giriama and the Marakwet. The land of all the peoples of Kenya. I have great hopes that the punishment of the Sutik will bring the Kisii to reason, remarked Commissioner Stewart in 1905. It is most important to open up this part of the Protectorate, which is well adapted to European settlement. From a report by Sir Harry Johnston, 1901. Here we have a territory, now that the railway is built, admirably suited for a white man's country. And I can say this with no thought of injustice to any native race, for the country in question is either utterly uninhabited for miles and miles, or at most, its inhabitants are wandering hunters. This will be one source of profit to the United Kingdom.